Thank you very much, Gordon. We'll try and raise your spirits a little bit in the next few minutes. Joining me now is the SNP's Treasury spokesman, Stewart Hosie. Stewart Hosie, would you characterise this as an autumn statement that was shaped by Brexit and had reacted to the fact that we are going to get Brexit?
No, I wouldn't. I wished it had been. But, you know, the Treasury know the numbers. Potentially 66 billion loss in tax yield, a GDP down 10%, 80,000 jobs in Scotland. He should have been much more explicit today about how he was going to mitigate those dangers. Even saying he wanted a soft Brexit, access to the single market, those things were missing even from the statement today.
Is that your way of saying he should have loosened the purse strings even more?
Well, it's not that. No, I think he should have. I mean, you know, over the 5-6 year period, the total increase in total expenditure was 1.5% on the previous forecast. So this was not a massive fiscal stimulus. But tackling Brexit didn't necessarily mean spending more money, but it would have been very helpful indeed if he'd laid out detailed plans about how they would have mitigated the damage, and he failed to do that.
But surely if he'd laid out plans, you would have been saying, accompany those plans by more money.
Well, only if the plans cost more money. But if he said we're going to argue for a soft Brexit, argue to stay in the single market, argue to be in the EEA, things that might not necessarily have a huge cost but would be massively beneficial and mitigate the losses that could follow, then he could have done that, and he could have done that quite easily.
While we're talking about numbers, a figure that he was very keen to put forward was £800 million extra to the Scottish Government over the next 5 years for capital projects. Has your administration in Edinburgh got those shovel-ready projects ready?
Well, the Scottish Government will be announcing its budget in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll let Derek Mackay announce the Scottish Government's budget. What I would say is, since this government came to power, we've had a 10% cut in revenue spending, a 16% cut in capital spending. So however welcome 800 million is, it does not reverse the damage already been done.
Okay, it may not go as far as you would like, that is pretty obvious, but it does put the onus on your administration in Edinburgh to now say, okay, we have a list of projects, we will get the diggers digging holes in the ground pretty quickly.
Well, the Scottish Government have a good track record of making sure shovel-ready projects are up and running to spend the money that's available. I don't doubt for a single second that the money will be spent on the appropriate capital projects to help boost the economy and deliver resilience in the long run.
He said he's going to keep the help for the oil and gas industry, and he has frozen fuel duty as well. As far as the new phrase that we're all using, jams, just about managing. Something like fuel duty is quite clever and astute politics, isn't it?
Well, you know, we called for the freeze. It made sense to do that. Putting an additional burden on businesses, hauliers, families now, it would have been silly. But in terms of the oil and gas sector more generally, he said what is there would be maintained. There was nothing new, perhaps, in terms of decommissioning allowances to allow field life extension, and I think we need to look very carefully at whether he means this is it and no more, or whether there's a bit more wriggle room to see what more can be delivered in the future.
He also announced as well that Stirling would be encouraged to go for city deal status, which will mean all of the 6 recognised cities in Scotland should be able to get the help that goes with that. Your own city, Dundee, is looking to go down this process. In local political terms, how important is a city deal?
Well, the city deals are important, particularly if they're properly constructed. If you get infrastructure, you create jobs, you have long-term benefits from them. And I know the Tay City deal was mentioned today, I'm very pleased about that, but all of the credit should go to the various local authorities and others who've pulled these deals together. They're the ones who've said this will deliver real economic benefit for our citizens. All the credit should go to them.
Listening to you, you would obviously have liked more. Do you get the feeling that this is Phillip Hammond saying, well, I'll keep a couple of things in my back pocket in case the Brexit negotiations don't go very well and the economy takes a turn for the worse? Do you think if we're talking in the budget next year, you might find that there are a few more sweeteners that he feels he has to bring out?
No, I don't think there will be. I mean, what we got today was, you know, debt deficit borrowing figures promised for 5 years ago, basically not going to be met in this Parliament. I think he's gone as far as he can in admitting that sort of austerity was a failure, but he hasn't gone far enough to deliver the real fiscal stimulus to match the monetary policy activism of the central bank to genuinely grow the economy.
Stewart Hosie, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me. Gordon, back to you.